Hi, yeah, Koen, and today I'm going to review the entry of Norway at Eurovision 2023, Alessandra with the song Queen of Kings. Norway chose their Eurovision entry this year with the national final Melodi Grand Prix again, like they do basically every year. There were some familiar Melodi Grand Prix faces returning to the contest, and among them was Ulrike, who won Melodi Grand Prix in 2020 with her song Attention, but she didn't get to go to Eurovision that year because it was cancelled due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and she also wasn't internally reselected to represent Norway in the year after that in 2021. This was the first time she attempted to represent Norway again after her victory in 2020. She did that with her song Honestly. The national final consisted out of 4 semifinals and 1 grand final, without any pre-qualified entries this time. For the first time ever, autotune was allowed during the live performances, and to top it all off, the Norwegian representatives of last year's subwoofer finally revealed their identities. There even is a documentary about that on the official Eurovision Song Contest YouTube channel. Queen of Kings by Alessandra was one of the first few Melodi Grand Prix songs that were released, because every week the participating songs of the semifinals were released, and she performed in the first live show, so her entry was one of the first entries that was released. And shortly after that, a TikTok with Queen of Kings on the background went viral. It was a video of the Miss Universe pageant with the Ukrainian participant in it. It was a clip of the costume round, and her clip went viral with Queen of Kings on the background, which caused the streams of the song to skyrocket. Currently, it's the second most streamed Eurovision entry of this year, right after Italy's Due Vite. Anyway, Alessandra won in the end, with Ulrike in the super final again, but this time she did not win. I gotta say, in the beginning I did expect Ulrike to win Melodi Grand Prix again, which I also would have liked, because I think every Eurovision 2020 artist who has not gotten the chance to be on the Eurovision stage yet deserves to be on that Eurovision stage. But after Queen of Kings went viral, I was like, okay, yeah, Alessandra is probably going to win instead of Ulrike. Can I also just say that I think it was hilarious but also kind of evil that during the qualifier announcements they also zoomed in on the faces of the non-qualifiers. Like, they would go to every participant and say if they're qualified or not, and then you would just see their reaction. It was kind of weird. I don't know why they chose to do it that way, but it gave us some meme material, so that's at least something. I like Queen of Kings. It's one of my favorite songs this year. I've just got one little pet peeve, and that's the fact that in the live performance and also in the music video, there's this Italian and Latin part before the song starts, and that part isn't in the studio version, which is something I do not like. I don't like it when artists, especially on the Eurovision stage itself, change the song and then not have a studio version of that available, because I think the whole point of the Eurovision Song Contest is that you want to perform your song and promote it. So why not perform or promote it the way that you release it? I really want Alessandra to release the studio version with the Italian and Latin part in it. Like, you're performing a song in a way for the whole of Europe to see it, the whole world to see it, and then not make it available like that. And also, I really like that Italian part, so I really want to stream it, you know? I mean, it is in a music video, so it gives me hope there will be a future release of this, and also often it happens that a release like that happens after Eurovision, so maybe that will be the case. I have hope. And also, since Alessandra herself has Italian roots, I think it would be even more cool to actually have that available. I really hope she does perform it like this on the Eurovision stage, which I think she will. Anyway, the song is a banger. I love it. It also kind of gives me piratey vibes, if you get what I mean, or medieval vibes. I don't know what about it is. I think it's something with the instrumentals, but it kind of gives me the feeling of a song that could be in a pirate movie. I gotta say, with some of the lyrics, I'm kind of like, I really like the verses. I think the verses are great, but during the chorus she sings, "Her name is she, Queen of the Kings." Who? She. Her? She. Hershey's? No, she. Her. I think that's a bit, like, I get what she's trying to say. It's just when you look at it really closely, it's kind of strange, but that doesn't change anything about my opinion on the song itself. And like I said, I do think the verses are beautifully written, and the chorus is very catchy, which is also why I think Norway will qualify this year. Also because I think people will recognize this from TikTok. That's also cool to be able to see that, now that songs have gone viral on TikTok before the Eurovision Song Contest, to see what kind of effect that has on the actual results of Eurovision. Last year, Armenia's entry Snap by Rosalind, who came 20th in the grand final, went viral after the Eurovision Song Contest and is now the second second most streamed Eurovision song of all time, just behind Arcade by Duncan Lawrence. I still hear Snap in some random videos I stumble upon on social media. Anyway, like I said, I think it will be fun to see what kind of effect going viral before the Eurovision Song Contest will have on an entry's results. I do have to say that some other TikTok effects we can see on the Eurovision Song Contest this year is, I think, the length of some of the Eurovision entries. Like, for example, Queen of Kings isn't 3 minutes long, but 2.5 minutes long. And usually when you listen to a Eurovision song, you're like, okay, this is probably around 3 minutes long because the song cannot be longer than 3 minutes. So you want to get as much time for your entry as possible. So you go for a full 3 minutes, you know? Like when I'm showering and I'm like 3 songs in, I'm like, oh wait, I should be done with showering now. And now when the shorter songs of this year are all done, I'm like, oh my god, I'm showering for too long. You get what I mean? Like, I measure my time with Eurovision songs sometimes, which is a bit harder now that not every song is 3 minutes long. On the plus side though, now that a whole half a minute is still available for Queen of Kings, Alessandra can add the Italian and Latin parts to the studio version. Sure, Norway is in the first semifinal, which is the strong semifinal this year, but I think Norway is one of the entries that makes the semifinal a strong semifinal. I still think Norway is very likely to qualify. Norway is opening the first semifinal, so basically also opening Eurovision 2023, which I think is a great choice by the producers. I also definitely would have put Norway in the first part of the semifinal to open the Eurovision Song Contest this year. I think it's a great song for that. I also think this could be an advantage for Norway because Queen of Kings has the potential to really make a great first impression and set a really high standard for the entries that will have to perform after Norway. I do have to say that some of the performances after Alessandra won Melodi Grand Prix were a bit shaky vocally, which maybe has something to do with the fact that there was autotune allowed during the national final, which I still don't really get because it isn't allowed at Eurovision. But I think if that's taken care of properly, Alessandra will be fine. I don't think she's a bad vocalist. In the grand final, I think Norway has the chance of ending up in the top 10, depending on the live performance of course, but left-hand side of the scoreboard is realistic to me. I think the televoters will really like this entry. So to conclude, I really like Norway's entry this year. It's one of my favorites. I do really hope Alessandra will add that Latin and Italian part to the studio version of the song and that we can stream it on the streaming platforms. I would really like to be able to do that. Alessandra, if you're watching this, please do that. I also hope she will perform it like that on the Eurovision stage, which I think she will. I think Norway has a good chance of qualifying. I think Norway will do really well in the televotes, and if the performance is done well, I think the top 10 result is very realistic. Left-hand side is definitely something I can see happening. And that's about all for now. What do you think of Queen of Kings? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you liked this video, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully until next time. Ha det!